Alright guys, we have a little end times update. Trish sent this to me. I'm just now seeing it. I've been so busy and running all over the place. Like I said, I almost drove through 5 counties today. Global leader of the Salvation Army. Now remember what happened with Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A had stopped sending money to Christian organizations. They have since started sending money to anything supporting LGBTQ and full-term abortion. Y'all do your own research on that. I'll no longer eat there. We have Bill Miller's. It's better than them anyway. Definitely need, if you're donating money, definitely need to research who you're giving your money to. I used to be a big supporter of March of Dimes. Then I did a little research one day, and I found out that 86% of every dollar given gets dispersed amongst other little bitty organizations all around the world. I was like, that's not why I'm giving you my money. I'm giving you my money to help kids. So I'm very picky about where I send my money. It's almost to the point where I don't hardly send anywhere anymore. Because it's going to bad things. Well, it looks like Salvation Army may have just made the list of places I will not send money. Global leader of the Salvation Army, General Brian Metal, met with Pope Francis at the Vatican to foster ecumenical relations and told him, "We stand behind you." As we have been showing you, Pope Francis, y'all can see what website this is now the end begins. I did look this up, and this is true. As we've been showing you, Pope Francis has decided that 2019 is the year in which we would make the biggest push to date for creating the one world religion that Revelation 13, 17, and 18 all say that the Vatican will do. Just last month, Pope Francis invited the world leader of the Salvation Army to Rome to meet at the Vatican to discuss ecumenical relations. What does that mean? It means yet another Christian organization is now allied with the whore of Revelation. I don't agree that Rome is the whore. From the studies that I've done, and I actually am working up to a video breaking down the beasts and what they relate to in the world, I think that the whore is Israel, because they're going to be on the back of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Well, the 70-nation conference that just happened in Israel, 7 heads and 10 horns. With Israel being the top of it. I mean, they literally almost described it right out of the book of Revelations. So, world leader of the Salvation Army is doing his thing, talking to the Pope, His Holiness. Yeah, well, he's only holy in one place, and I ain't here. So here's from Revelation 17, 5 and 6. It says, "And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration." Now, the first martyr of Jesus was Stephen. He was stoned outside the walls of Jerusalem. When little stuff like that, little details like that tell you who this is Israel. Because only a remnant of Israel is going to be saved. And they're going to run, after the middle of the tribulation, they're going to run out to Petra and hide in Petra. They're the ones that are going to garner and govern the beast with 7 horns and 10 heads. We're seeing it born right now. They just did it, a couple weeks or a month ago. So we're seeing the birth of that beast. The other beast described in the book of Revelations, and I'll do a much more in-depth video on this, has the different animal parts. Well, that's the different countries from the Roman Empire. They're going to be run by 2 different people. A lot of people keep saying Macron. You'll hear all kinds of people say Macron is the Antichrist. No, he's not. Macron is going to run this beast over here, this coalition of nations, the old Roman Empire. We know that has to rise back up. It's literally coming together right now as we speak. As the EU breaks apart, these other countries are coming back together. Every one of them is from the old Roman Empire. Over here, we've got the 70-nation coalition. This is all kinds of other nations that are getting tied up with Israel. And Israel said, we're going to put it's going to be 7 horns and 10 heads. The horn is going to be a council of Sanhedrin that are going to govern 10 countries underneath them. Because when you go read it, there's several references to this dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. It has 10 diadems on each horn. That's 10 countries. So it's going to be one council, 10 countries. And there's going to be 7 of these groups. And this is where a lot of the wars are going to happen, is between these 2 coalitions of nations. Like I said, I'll do a breakdown in another video, specifically relating that stuff, so you guys can see it. But Israel's Go to Tel Aviv, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is from the Salvation Army site. Following a profitable time of sharing, the delegation then had an opportunity to meet with Pope Francis in the Papal Library. The general had a time of private conversation before the Salvation Army representatives were presented to Pope Francis. Before they were presented to Pope Francis. It almost sounds like a ceremony. General Petal represented his message, and Pope Francis responded, or presented his message. The general then prayed with the Pope. During the visit, the Salvation Army delegation was given privileged access to the Sistine Chapel and St. Peter's Basilica. It is intended that beyond this historic visit, there would be a series of meetings which will strengthen relationships and cooperation in areas of mutual concern and service. All of the big megachurch leaders in the world today have all been over there talking to the Pope. We're getting sold up the river, guys. And this is from the Vatican. Yikes. I did not mean for that to happen. I'm happy to have this opportunity to renew to you and all the members and volunteers of the Salvation Army my grateful appreciation for the witness you give to the primacy of discipleship and service to the poor. This makes you an evident and credible sign of evangelical love. In obedience with the Lord's commandment, love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples. Well, then why is he on record, and I looked this up and he did say this, that Jesus was a failure on the cross? A lot of people say we took that out of context, but I saw it. No, it's pretty clear what he meant. So, interesting series of events going on here. But if we're seeing these people kowtowing to this, what's going on? What's about to change? There's still a little bit of 2019 left. As I've mentioned, golly, why is it doing that? As I've mentioned on several occasions, and again just now when we spoke, it was by encountering members of the Salvation Army that I received many, many years ago from my grandmother my first lesson in ecumenism. I was 4 years old. Their example of humble service to the least of our brothers and sisters spoke louder than any words. I am reminded, General, of the insight expressed by your predecessor when we met 5 years ago. So actually this is something that has been ongoing. Holiness transcends denominational boundaries. Well, okay. So denominational boundaries exist for a reason. And that reason is because different denominations have different beliefs, different Bibles, and different doctrine. For example, the Roman Catholic Church believes that they and they alone are the only way to heaven. So do the Jehovah's Witnesses. That is certainly a different position from, say, the Baptists, who believe that we are saved by grace through faith and not by works. Not all Baptists, not all. The reason why ecumenical relations are so deadly is because in order to have them, a minimum of one side has to compromise what they believe in order to work with the other side. Now you ask yourself, when has Rome ever compromised? Never. In fact, Rome is responsible for the death of more Christians than anyone else. The answer is never, so that means it was the Salvation Army who has taken a dive. But actually not the first time, right? That's what I'm saying. This has been ongoing. The Salvation Army USA would like to apologize to the LGBTQ plus P, say it right, community for any hurt we may have caused in the past, whether through the sin of omission or commission. Oh, are they repenting? We have done harm to countless of our brothers and sisters. We are truly sorry. We ask for the forgiveness of those whom we have hurt and pray that you will extend us the opportunity to prove ourselves anew. Being gay is not a sin, but being judgmental is. Well, it depends on what kind of judgment you're using. And yes, being practicing gay is a sin. See, definitions, specifics need to be put out here. You can't just do a blanket statement on stuff like this or use a blanket term. And I know people are jumping up and down what I just said. There's more important things to get mad about. Christian's blood words. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we're looking at the different, more prominent, heavier religious-based organizations are starting to come together. I guess what they're doing is they're seeing the handwriting on the wall, or a lot of money is changing hands, and they're starting to align themselves with the Pope. This is building the other beast. They're all getting in alliance with it because they don't want to be shut down. A lot of people are cowards. A lot of people will not stand for the faith, even if it means their death. Yeah, there's a picture of them. So what's going to happen? See, these guys right here, Mr. Pope, they got a lot of money and a lot of power. Now that they're aligned with them like that, be a bunch of money changing hands. You watch, a whole bunch of stuff's going to change all of a sudden for the Salvation Army. Laodicean Christian leaders selling out to Pope Francis. Back in 2014, not only did Pope Francis hold ecumenical services in the Vatican where he prayed to the moon god of Islam, Allah, Satan. Go do a research on their little moon and star symbol and look at what you find. He also held high-level meetings. I never heard back from the guy, but I talked to a guy who claimed he was Muslim, and I told him, do you not know that the crescent moon and the star is of Satan? No, it's not. So I sent him some stuff, and I said, read this. Let me know what you think. Never heard back from him. And it's very, very old symbols that go way back before Islam. He also held high-level meetings with megachurch pastor Joel Osteen and U.S. Senator Mike Lee. So here's a name you need to watch out for, Mike Lee, who was there to represent the Mormon Church. The actors have taken the stage, with more still arriving in the unfolding of what will one day soon be the wildest Bible prophecy ever told, the Great Tribulation. If you are tied with this in any way, shape, or form, here's what's about to happen. Is this a prophetic statement? I'm just looking at the evidence and seeing this. What's going to happen here is they're going to say, hey guys, you're going to see them start coming on TV. Hey guys, here's what we need to do. If we want our world to get better, if we want things to be better for everybody, if we want life to be better, if everybody wants to do well, no more poor, no more this, no more that, we need to join together. Whether it happens before the rapture or after, I have no clue, but that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be jokers like this demon right here. Oh, while I've got you guys here, if you're listening at all to Glenn Beck, watch out. Because Glenn Beck has shown a lot of affinity for Joel Osteen. And he says, I don't see what the problem is. I've had kind of some questions about Glenn for the last few years anyway. I noticed a big change in him all of a sudden. I'm not judging him. I don't know the whole thing, but be careful. Because when they start aligning with somebody who openly professes he's not a Christian, yet he's preaching Christianity, no, it doesn't work that way. So guard yourselves, guys. Put on that armor. Be ready. Because we sure don't know what's coming. Thank you, Trish, for sending me this stuff. It's just a matter of time, y'all. It's just a matter of time. Here's what you need to do, though. We're waiting for the Lord to come. We see the signs that are happening. Prepare yourself emotionally to deal with anything that comes your way. You need to understand the worst case scenario could happen. You need to prepare yourself to deal with that. You need to be ready to look at, know what it is, know where it's coming from, but know what's waiting for you on the other side, which is Christ. So when that day comes, you can stand, just like the Bible says, and stand firm in it and not be shaken. Because it's going to be a really easy temptation to give in. And you got to decide now, before it gets hard. Am I going to be able to do it? Even if it means they're going to take my life in front of people that I know and care about. I'm just being real here. You may have to see people you love and care about taken. I don't know. I don't know exactly how this is going to unfold. But I sure see the precursors to it real quick. The thing is that every time we go to bed at night, this stuff is just going full steam ahead. All hours, nonstop. All right, guys. That's all I got for this one. Keep your eyes on the skies. We don't know. There's still some time left. Let's be sober-minded. And let's lift each other up and stay strong in the faith. You got brothers and sisters out there, reach out to them. Extend a hand of grace, whether you agree or disagree. Let's try to talk some of this stuff out. And let's get the little arguments and the little things like that out of the way. I'm going to work real hard on not getting into those discussions. Because we're at a point now where we just need to reach out to people to get them saved. and plant some seeds. If somebody's really off the rails, try to reach out to them. But I wouldn't make it a big ordeal. If they don't receive it, they don't receive it. There's not much we can do at this point. It's just too close to the end. Love you guys. Bless y'all in Jesus' name. I'll see you in the next one.